What's up guys, Krons here and welcome back to Everlasting Summer. Where we last left off, we investigated a mine, found Shurik, who went batshit crazy, and now it's the next morning and we're just exploring the camp. Oh, and we were caught naked with two girls who we caught naked and we were pervertedly looking at them, which probably wasn't the best thing, but there really was no choice to it, was there? I ran without looking back. Run man, run! And stopped a few minutes later to catch my breath. I'm still naked, by the way. It seemed that there were no pursuit in progress, so I managed to save myself, but at the cost of lacerated, scratched and bleeding feet, as I had no time to put on my boots. I sat on a tree stump and sighed. Sometime later, having dressed already, I left the forest. I needed to decide what to do next. My feet are hurting, so I should go straight to the infirmary. But on the other hand, my stomach isn't going to wait either, because we missed breakfast. Maybe I should accept Electronic's invitation. I'm not going to go there anytime soon to the canteen, am I? Or head to the canteen in the hope of finding something left to eat there. Let's go to the clubhouse. Yeah. I was desperately hungry. I always took good care of my health, and even better care at the times when something started to hurt badly. And now I was able to walk, and my feet weren't even hurting much. So my feet will heal up eventually, while my hunger can wait. Can't wait. I decided to take advantage of Electronic's invitation. That's the only safe place, apart from Shurik there, who's batshit crazy. In the end, knowing the local pioneers, it was smart to assume that there wasn't even a piece of stale bread left at the canteen. And the Cybernetics Club actually somewhat owe me. Yeah, because Shurik. With such thoughts, I approached the club's building and heard screams coming from it. I tried to listen closely but couldn't figure out anything. Give it back! That looks like an induction coil. No, I won't! Uliana was running around the room with a coil of wire in her hands, chased by Shurik. Guys, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but give it back! They didn't even give me a bit of attention. No, I won't! Shurik, completely caught up in the chase, slipped past me, almost knocking me down. Hey! Uliana was running in circles around the room, laughing cheerfully. I wonder what she needs this wire for. Probably nothing, just to mess around. Meanwhile, the head of the Cybernetics Club was looking fine, even after yesterday's madness. One could even say he was looking fresh. But this probably wouldn't help him to catch Uliana. She was taller, more agile and faster after all. She could easily drive him to exhaustion. Hey! Uliana ran up to me and hid behind my back. Shurik in his turn left the club, slamming the door on his way out. He was offended, it seems. Hey, what's wrong with you? You won't catch me. She looked at Electronic, who was silently observing all this sinning running and stuck out her tongue at him. Simon, take the wire away from her. And why do you need it in the first place? You don't have enough wire or something? He was trying to catch Uliana, who was hiding behind me. He moved to the right while she moved to the left, he moved to the left and she moved to the right. In the end I got tired of this and grabbed the wire from Uliana with one dexterous move. Give it back! Give it to me! She shouted resentfully. No, I won't. Stop horsing around. I held the wire above my head so Uliana with her height couldn't possibly get it. Thank you, my dear man. Okay, fine. She snorted and turned away from me. Why do you need it in the first place? That's none of your business. Uliana looked at me slyly. Do you want me to tell everybody that you... Oh... I shut her mouth with my hand and dragged her along to the exit. Okay, we need to go. I told Electronic while giggling stupidly. And what did you come for? Breakfast. Once outside, I let the kicking Uliana free. Hear me out. You realize that it was an accident. Even more so, it was caused by you. I know nothing. Facts are facts. You were watching us. What would Olga Dmitrievna think? On the one hand, I did not want to care in the slightest what the camp leader would say. But on the other, everybody was against me. Everything was against me. And in my position, it would be better not to get myself into such a situation. Fine. Maybe we could make a deal somehow. She started to think. I know. I anticipated the worst. You bring me that wire. And that'll call it even? That's all? That's it? That's all you want? But what do you need it for? I need it for my needs. Okay, let's assume I get it. You won't tell anybody? I give you the word of a pioneer. I could hardly believe her. But on the other hand, it was just a coil of wire, so why shouldn't I try? Yeah, I'm gonna accept that. Okay, fine. Deal. But you must know that... Yeah, of course. She interrupted me. Wait here. Saying that, I went back into the club's quarters. Electronic was building something with rapt attention. Now I'm done with everything, so I thought you could get me something as you promised. My voices sounded a bit sycophantic, which was enough to drive me mad. Of course, I'm not insisting, but... 1 minute. He tore himself away from his work and got a pair of buns from the drawer and a classic triangular pack of kefir. Be my guest. Thank you. While I was busy eating, Electronic didn't turn away from his device for a second. He was rolling up the wire which I had taken away from Uliana onto the coil, and it was wire she wanted. So what's this? An inductor. An anductor? Join our club and you'll know everything. He looked at me and smiled slyly. I'll think about it. Of course I wasn't going to join anything, but taking into account that he had fed me, I had to be polite. By the way, as I said, I have something else. Well, yeah. Wait a second. He went into the adjacent room and came back after a minute with some kind of package. Tan-ta-da! And gave it to me. There was a big bottle of Stolichная vodka inside. Huh, I get it, but it's still morning. Or does Electronic share the motto of get drunk in the morning, take the entire day off? What are you talking about? I'm not suggesting we drink it. We have to clean the optics. Cleaning the optics. Yeah, right. Internally. Okay. I gave him the package back. Кстати, а можно у тебя эту катюшку позаимствовать? Позаимствовать. Wait, why is this in Russian? А можно у тебя эту катюшку позаимствовать? So I'm like, well then, can I borrow this thing for you? Referring to the coil. What'd you need it for? Probably I had to think of a reason beforehand. I just need it. But we can't do without it as well. Do you? Well, never mind then. I can't just force him to give it to me, right? I'll go then. Come back any time. Of course. The moment I want to have a drink. Walking out, I questioned myself why he wanted to show me the vodka in the first place. Uliana ran up to me instantly. And? So, have you got it? No. That's your own fault then. Do you need this wire at all? But you get credit for trying. What? I was surprised. Interesting. Alisa would tell everything anyway. Uliana laughed. She is really angry with you. I bet, I muttered quietly. Okay, see you. Yeah, she waved at me and ran away. Here I am in a stupid situation once again, no big deal. It's not the first time. Suddenly my hunger returned again. I'm really hungry myself, actually. For sure, a meal of some buns and kefir is awesome, but it's not enough to fill me up. Yeah, it doesn't sound too... Luckily for me, I heard the bell sound, calling pioneers for lunch. Well, lunch already? The day has just started and I've gone through so many things already. But I did it and now I have legitimate grounds to fill myself up. Today I wasn't the last one, so I could choose a free table. Lunch included pea soup and mashed potatoes with fish. Maybe scumbria. Hopefully. It was a major disappointment to me as I don't eat fish in any form and hence will get fewer calories than usually. Oh, you don't eat fish? Soon, Slavia and Lena, Praise and Sarah came to my table. Can we? She smiled nicely. Eh? Yeah, sure. Why not? I stood up and pulled out a chair for her. What a gentleman I am. Please. I was in an excellent mood at the moment. Enjoy your meal. Saying that, Lena began staring at me and continued for some time, but then, after realizing how odd she looked, switched to her plate. You too. Do you have any plans for today, Simon? Probably finding out what happened to Shurik, making sure I'm not blackmailed by Alisa, and yeah, no. I gave her an honest answer, as indeed I had no plans, except for searching for answers, but that was more like a global goal. Do you want to take a boat ride to the island with us? A boat ride? The island? Well, I think I've seen it from the pier. For what? Olga Dmitrievna asked us to gather some strawberries. Ooh, strawberries! There are a lot of strawberries there and they're so delicious. I could imagine the taste without even eating it just by looking at Slavia's face. At Praise's face. Strawberries. And what are those for? I don't know, but it's indeed a great idea. Well, indeed it is. Moreover, I haven't been to the island yet. Yeah, sure. Within minutes, we were already standing at the pier. Well, here is the boat. Hang on, I'll go and fetch the paddles now. I was left face to face with Sarah. Do you like strawberries? Well, not really, but they're tasty. Sarah smiled. I see. I didn't know what to say next, how to continue the conversation. If Praise didn't come back, we'd probably sit here till evening without saying a word. Here you go. She handed me a pair of hefty paddles. Yeah, thanks. Aha. We got into the boat, I untied it and pushed off the shore and tried to start paddling. And where exactly are we heading to? Right there! She pointed a finger at the island. That island is named the closest one. Easy name to remember. What captain gave it such an original name? Well, the island is indeed close to the shore. Aye aye, Captain! If only I'd known what was waiting for me ahead. I wasn't an experienced oarsman. I'd rowed a boat just once or twice in my life. It was less than half a mile to the island, but we were making our way in zigzags thanks to my skills. By approximately the middle of the trip, my arms hurt so badly I dropped the paddles to get some rest. Well, aren't there any strawberries anywhere else? I mean, in more accessible places? But the tastiest ones grow there. Praise gave me a puzzled look. Is it hard for you to row alone? Lena, unlike Slavia, understood everything straight away. Oh, it's nothing. Anyway, I couldn't let a fragile girl help me. The rest of the way I spent concentrating on staying alive or getting to the island. Praise and Sarah discussed something, but I wasn't listening. There was too much for me. At last we arrived. It's sad there are a few. Completely exhausted, I got out on the shore and looked at the boathouse. That's like not far at all, man. It seemed so far away that I felt like a first person on the moon watching the earth rise. Here you go. Praise handed me a basket. It was a small island barely 100 meters long, and it looked more like a birch grove with even rows of trees covering its entire surface. A calm, green sea spread beneath our feet with wind, causing lowly waves on its surface from time to time. This island looked like a lost paradise. It's no wonder that the most delicious strawberries grow just here. Wild strawberries are the best. We've got to split up, that way we'll do the job faster. Yeah, sure. But there are only 2 baskets, said Sarah humbly. Oh, you're right, my bad. So how are we going to split up then? I'm going to go with Lena, with Sarah. Let me go with you. Let's go. Okay, that's fine. Praise grabbed the second basket and ventured to the opposite side of the island. Well, let's go. Yeah. Lena smiled. Just pay attention, don't leave a single berry behind. You too. So, it was harvest time. Indeed, the strawberries here were delicious. I could probably eat them all if I didn't stop myself in time. Despite being wild grown, the berries were close to garden ones in size and had a rich red colour, so it was clear that a visit here was not in vain. Sarah followed me closely as we had only 1 basket for the both of us. I felt like a real mushroom picker, examining each shrub and carefully pawing the grass. If you guys have never gathered berries of any kind, it really is one of the best things ever to do. It's really nice. Well, you're much better than me. Am I? Frankly, I'm not even counting them. You're right, you are. You are. The basket was already half full. You must enjoy nature, right? Do you enjoy the nature too? The nature? I do. The bright sun rays pierced the treetops and blinded me for a second. I sat down on the ground and leaned against a tree. Still, it's so beautiful here. She sat down next to me. so close that our elbows touched. Yeah, we just sat and enjoyed the moment. It seemed like time stood still. The wind gently shook the tree leaves, some bugs lazily hopped around the grass, and splashes of sunlight played on the faraway water surface. Sarah put her head on my shoulder. I was surprised at first, but then I heard her regular breathing and thought that it's just a matter of course. Probably she felt drowsy and wanted to take a quick nap. I just sat there and didn't think of anything for a few minutes. But then words started crossing my mind with ultrasonic speed. Sarah, so close, sleeping, so warm, so gentle. Feelings, feelings. I gazed at her. She had such a serene, such a tranquil look on her face that it seemed like right now she's not here but in some kind of better world. I don't know what would have happened the next moment if I didn't hear the voice of praise. Simon! Sarah! I shook my head from side to side for a few minutes to come to my senses. Sarah started to wake up. She opened her eyes and gave me an empty look. Have a nice dream? Huh? Suddenly realizing she had dozed off leaning on my shoulder, Sarah blushed. Oh, I'm sorry. It's fine. Praise came over to see us, so Sarah rushed to get up. So how much have you got? I sighed. That's not a lot. Her basket was filled with strawberries to the brim. Well, it's enough already. It's time to get back. I grabbed the basket and we headed back to the boat. The way back took less time as I tried to concentrate on rowing and ignoring everything else. My only wish was to get back alive, as the first trip hadn't gone without consequences, and now my hands started to hurt after only a few sweeps of the oars. Having tied up the boat, I fell to the ground with no energy left. Praise and Sarah leaned over me. You could have said something if it was so hard for you. Yes. Never mind, it's fine. I'll just lie here for a bit and everything will be alright. Okay, then get those baskets to Olga Dmitrievna, please. We have something else to do. Yeah, sure. I was ready to agree with anything at that moment, just so I wouldn't have to get up. Praise put the baskets full of strawberries next to me and headed to the square, happily chatting with Sarah about something. The hardest part is done anyway. That's what I thought before I got up and took the baskets. After the rowing they felt like cement bags, even while weighing barely more than a few kilograms each. Oh, so the trip to the camp leader's cabin took much longer than usual. I had to stop every 50 meters to rest. When I finally made it, I put the baskets on the ground and sat on the deck chair with difficulty. Olga Dmitrievna! Olga Dmitrievna, I've got presents for you. There was no answer. I barely managed to get up and enter the cabin. There was nobody there. If you don't need them, it's up to you. I lay down on the deck chair and fell asleep. I had a weird dream about a strawberry race. I was rowing a boat with my last ounces of strength, trying to escape huge strawberries that were chasing me. My hands were failing me and I could barely see anything because of the sweat covering my face. Blood was hammering in my temples, but the strawberries were getting closer. They were baring their teeth at me. But wait, strawberries with teeth? Simon! Simon! I woke up. Olga Dmitrievna was standing beside me, shaking my shoulder. I see you got a rich harvest, didn't you? Yes, I tried my best. Thanks to the girls' help. Okay, but that's not all. Seriously, I was just anticipating the lovely rest I was about to have. Do you even know what these strawberries are for? Not a clue. What an honest confession. Well, we'll make a cake out of them. Вкусно, вкусно. I see. Well, that makes sense. To honor the miraculous rescue of Shurik. We need to tell us somehow that he went batshit crazy. And it's all thanks to you. It was clear that getting the strawberries wasn't the last thing to do. And why, please tell me, if I am such a hero, why do I have to organize a celebration in my name all by myself? Well, I guess so. I have an important task for you. We are missing yeast, flour and sugar, and need it all in the canteen before dinner. And those who will make the cake can't deal with it on their own somehow? I asked pitifully. Of course they can't. All of them are busy. And you are the only one in the camp who does nothing. Who does nothing, really? I have done everything, woman. While her words were partly true, they weren't. That doesn't make it any easier for me now. Moreover, those words felt like a bullet to my head. So, write it down. Yeast, flour, sugar. I won't forget. You'll get the yeast in the infirmary, flour in the library, and sugar in the clubhouse. Why is flour in the library? Alright. Wait. I have no time and I'm in a hurry. Good luck. She smiled sadly and left. Of course, there are a lot of strange things in this camp, but a yeast in the infirmary? Okay, I can deal with that. But flour in the library? Called it! And sugar? No, it's way beyond my comprehension. I spat on the floor. What? I don't want to and I will not believe this. Just tell me you're pulling my leg. I would not be surprised if a crowd of fat green trolls would appear here right now beside me, with every one of them feeling obligated to laugh at me. So maybe to hell with this cake? I weighed my options for some time. If such a major plan of Olga Dmitrievna's fell through, I'd be in a world of hurt. And it would complicate both my life in the camp and my search for answers, which I've stopped for quite a while, about a week. It seems like I have no choice. Okay, let's go. Yeast, flour, sugar. The most important thing is the flour, obviously. If every other place on the cake ingredient list made at least some sense to me, then flour from the library meant none. I thought hard about who'd put it in the library and why, but couldn't find any sane explanation at all. Given Zhenya's harsh nature, I better knock first. Knock, knock, knock. Open! Back to this place. Zhenya peered at me closely from behind her glasses. What do you want? Don't think anything weird, but I didn't want to look like an idiot and decided to explain things carefully. I need some flour. Olga Dmitrievna said that it's here. I understand that it sounds strange to keep flour in the library, but I was sent to you, and it's needed for a cake to celebrate Shurik's rescue. Yeah, I have flour. What's so strange about it? Zhenya replied with surprise. And that second, I felt like I'd been hit on the head with a heavy weight and lost the ability to understand anything at all. Flour in the library. Sure. What's so strange about that? We're in Wonderland. I'm Alice and I'm going to eat that magic mushroom and I'll be back home. Hey. Yeah. I was daydreaming. Wait here, I'll be right back. She disappeared behind the bookshelves while I folded my hands and started waiting. A moment later, the sound of a trapdoor groaning on its hinges reached me. Hey, you need some help? I inquired loudly. I'll deal with it. Zhenya barked out to me. She seems to be in the basement, so I'll have to wait a little. Okie dokie. I haven't said those words in like 15 years. Okie dokie. A few minutes passed, but Zhenya still hadn't returned. I was starting to get worried when the door suddenly flung open and Elisa came into the library. Oh no. She looked surprised too, seeing me here. What are you doing here? Am I not allowed to be here? I asked rudely to her. She was clearly a bit overwhelmed. What do I care? She snorted and headed to Zhenya's table. And why are you here then? Elisa measured me with her eyes carefully and almost opened her mouth to say something, but then seemed to change her mind and turned away, hiding her hand behind her back. Returning a book, I blurted the first thing off the top of my head. It's none of your business, she replied with a hint of hesitation. What book is it? Elisa was silent. Oh, come on, let me see it. I wonder what Miss High Voltage Keep Away reads. It's none of your business. Her voice was even less confident. Okay, I'm not insisting or anything. In fact, I was quite interested and quite insisting on finding out what Elisa was reading. Moreover, I was quite amused to see a book in her hands. That is pretty interesting. TV, movies, a computer if one was available, all those things seemed to be much more appropriate entertainment for a girl like Elisa. But she had a book instead. Stay on guard. Curiosity killed the cat. Anyway, it's Elisa, and that means it could quickly turn into a total mess. Plus, I still have ingredients to collect. I mean, I was spying on her naked. It doesn't seem like I should do anything else to provoke her, if you know what I mean. Well, I'll come later. Alisa left the library quickly without looking at me. It got me thinking, what could this book could be all about if she was so ashamed of it? An ashamed Alisa is something extraordinary by itself. But Alisa ashamed about a book? But what's the point in guessing now? There's no way to find out. Finally, Jenya's deep groan rang out, reaching each and every corner of the library. Grab it! I passed by the bookshelves and beheld the perspiring librarian sitting near the trapdoor leading into the basement with a small sack next to her. Well, they might have some kind of storehouse down there. Thanks! I took the sack and left the library. Thank goodness it wasn't too heavy, so I carried it down to Olga Dmitryevna's cabin without too much effort. Sounds good. Sounds good. Now let's go to the... let's go get that yeast. I feel like I visited the infirmary too often recently. But what can I do? That's how things pan out. I sighed and knocked on the door. Come in, said Viola, with a trace of a sing-song accent. Good afternoon. Olga Dmitrievna has sent me to get some... I hesitated slightly. Yeast. Ah, sure. She gave me a broad smile. It's just that I don't have any. Pioneer. How so? She said that. Well, I had some, but now there's none left. I didn't even bother asking why she had it in the first place. Well, don't you worry. You can have some aspirin, for example. That could be of some use to me, actually. Where do I get it, then? I sighed. Take this. She opened the drawer and pulled out some kind of bottle. I took a close look. Ostankinske was a well-known brand of cheap beer in the USSR. Okay. Simon, what's the matter? Beer is also a fermented product. Ah! She gave me a deep gaze. Nobody will even notice. She had a point, but everything looked so grotesque to me that I just couldn't find anything to say. Are you sure? Absolutely. Okay then. The bottle clearly wouldn't fit into the pocket of my shorts. Well, thanks, I mumbled shyly, leaving the infirmary. Well, beer certainly could replace yeast. Even my limited knowledge of chemistry and biology was enough to accept this. But generally, walking around with this bottle in my hands looked like a silly idea to me, so I decided to bring it to Olga Dmitrievna's cabin and hide it there. But I had to reach it somehow without anybody noticing the beer. I hid the bottle under my shirt. And everything would have been fine, but Praise called out to me at the square. Actually, she sprang from behind me so suddenly that I even gave a start. How's it going? What exactly? Your search for ingredients. Ah, so you know already. Yes, I do. Praise smiled. It's going alright, I answered, trying not to give away my unrest. And what do you have there? She pointed at the bottle sticking out from under my shirt. Ah, this. She got me. Ah, it's nothing. I blushed with a silly giggle. It's time to go. I was almost running, leaving the square with the puzzled Praise behind. It's great that she's one of those people who don't ask unnecessary questions. But there are people in this camp who love nothing better than to poke their noses into other people's business. Passing the pioneers' cabins, I stumbled upon Uliana. What are you hiding there? She gave me one of her cheeky looks. Yeah, this is a person who's nosy. I thought there was no point in denying anything, so I replied in a provocative manner. It's none of your business. I'm a cipher officer bearing a message to headquarters. That's certainly a big message. I was carrying the bottle at waist, so I was slightly embarrassed. You want some help? I'll deal with it on my own. I walked past her confidently and proceeded on my way. To my surprise, she didn't say anything, nor try to pursue me. There was nobody at Olga Dmitrievna's cabin, so I successfully managed to stuff the bottle under my bed. Once I got outside, I sighed with relief. Really, I couldn't believe that I would ever worry about I couldn't believe that I'd ever worry that much about a single bottle of beer. So while the music was playing, I didn't want to say, but I guess that makes sense about the beer, because if you cook it, if you bake it, the alcohol evaporates. So then it'll just be the yeast, I guess. The yeast, and hopefully that works in a cake. I've never tried that. Like it was like I was back in high school almost. It's a good thing it's safe now. Even if somebody finds it, I'll claim that it's not mine. I could always think of a suitable excuse for my enormous expertise. Okay, last ingredient, sugar, right? It feels like I've gone through more things today than all the previous days combined. Thus, approaching the clubhouse, I'd even forgotten to think about how awkward it must be to look for sugar there. Shurik and Electronic were enthusiastically building something. What the hell are you guys doing? They were so busy that they didn't even notice me. I looked closely. It was some kind of robot, or at least the body of one. Moreover, this robot was female and had animal ears. I didn't want to make up theories about the purpose of such a device. For luminaries of camp cybernetics, yeah. Probably you shouldn't get too much into that. Even though the design looked practically workable, I had my doubts about this robot ever being able to conquer Earth, or at least being able to do anything on its own. But they seemed to be enjoying the process more than the end result itself. And that was something we shared, even though I didn't want to admit it. Yeah, I mean, it's probably more fun to build it than anything else. On the other hand, they weren't afraid of possible failure, criticism or jokes. They were walking towards their goal without paying attention to others, which is really important. Who would call it unrealistic or even absurd? Oh, it looks like I'm truly comparing them to luminaries of the sciences. Hey guys, what's up? I greeted them uncertainly. Oh, Simon, come in. We're always glad to see you. Yeah, I'm sure. I was already actually inside. You know, sorry for what happened yesterday. I barely remember anything, but, well, never mind, it's okay. And what brings you to our humble abode? Electronic looked at me slyly. Sometimes I feel that he makes such a face when he knows something about the other person. Something he can use at the right moment. Sugar. I need sugar. An image from an ancient video game suddenly came into my mind, where some kind of unit like a builder or something cried out with all of its 5-pixel stature. Gold! We need more gold! That's like, what game is that? I guess that'd be like StarCraft or Heroes of Might and Magic. We got it, said Electronic calmly. Okay. Why would you want it? I felt that I shouldn't explain to Shurik that they want to bake a cake for him. Oh yeah, good point. I felt that that would spoil the surprise. I don't know. Olga Dmitrovna told me to get some. Okay, hang on. Electronic disappeared behind the door into the next room. And why do you guys have sugar here? Why not in the canteen? When the food truck came last time, it was the last thing to unload. And given that our building is the closest one to the entrance, they decided to leave it here to save some effort. Wow, that's really lazy. Is that reasonable? Not really. The door opened, revealing Electronic holding a huge bag behind him. I really don't know what the size of the cake will be, but that was obviously too much sugar. Well, thanks, but I don't need it all. But where should we put it? Electronic gave me a surprised look. We don't have a place for it. You asked for sugar, so take it. It seems that the previous smile of his wasn't there without reason. Maybe you'll help me then. It's not that far to carry. We're busy. He pointed his hand at the robot. I gazed at Shurik. He owed me after all. He hesitated and looked away in shame. I sighed, took the bag and headed to the door. Thanks anyway, guys, I said at parting, exerting myself. Yeah, thanks. But I didn't make it too far. No, I probably wouldn't. Just after a mere 20 meters, I had to put the bag down to have a rest. I had no idea how much it weighed. Sorry. But it felt like more than 20 kilos. On the other hand, it was just 200 meters to the canteen. Okay, that's 180 meters left. On the other hand, even such a distance with this payload on my shoulder, or alternately in my hands or on my legs or under my arm or even on my head, looked impossible for me to cover. And as I resigned myself to move in minor sprints with prolonged pauses between them, so I could get there by night at least, I heard a voice behind me. Maybe I could help you. Oh, I saw Sarah in front of me. I don't think you can. It was one of those moments when I felt painfully how dramatically out of shape I was. I can bring a handcart. A handcart? Why didn't I think of that myself? Yes, that would be great. That would be great. Wait here, I'll be right back. She smiled and ran in the direction of the square. What would I do without her? It's good that Sarah isn't always that shy and can take the initiative sometimes. I started to think. She seemed quite unusual now, with no trace of shyness on her face, and actually the complete opposite, smiles and confidence. The offer of help wasn't something extraordinary by itself, but getting it from Sarah. A few minutes later she came back with a smallish handcart. I put the bag down on it. Thanks. Don't mention it. She blushed and looked down. Oh, the Lena we all know is coming back. So I'll go then. Yeah, see you. And thank you again, I shouted after her. Sometimes I felt like there are two different people living inside of her. But the second one, confident, happy, and sometimes even bold, only appears when she talks to me. Or am I making things up again? I thought that it would be better if I get all the ingredients at once, so I headed to Olga Dmitrievna's cabin with the handcart. Finally, it seems that everything had been collected. Huzzah! Huzzahs are in order. I took the handcart with sugar outside and put the sack with the flour in it, followed by the 2 baskets of strawberries that somehow fitted in between them, and the beer was hidden under my shirt just in case. The day was coming to its end, so I had to hurry, as cake itself will need some time to bake. Of course, I'd rather enjoy lying down, closing my eyes and getting decent sleep, but I just couldn't let Olga Dmitrievna down. Why am I so lazy? Indeed, after all the trouble I'd gone to, I felt personally responsible for the success of this event. Well, yeah. Coming to the square, I stopped for a moment to catch my breath. It wasn't that the cart was heavy. It ran smoothly without any noticeable effort required. It was just that any physical exertion caused me pain now. I've been rowing, running yesterday from a maniac. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. So I'm closing my eyes. I sat down on the bench and closed my eyes for a moment. What's that? I didn't really give a damn who it was. Probably just a fellow pioneer girl taking an interest in an unfamiliar companion in distress. What are you talking about? I asked her tiredly. She didn't reply. They're the ingredients for a cake. Do you like cakes? I don't know. What, you've never tried cake? I don't know. Obviously the girl didn't get what I was talking about, and that did not surprise me at all, at the moment. I really wasn't interested in this conversation. I was so tired that I had zero intention of classifying external distractions and tagging them as either common or uncommon. I see. Come down to the canteen later and have a bite. Really? Really. And what are they made of? What? I asked indifferently. These. Cakes. Well, flour, sugar, various fillings, a bunch of stuff. Now that's a strange question. Doesn't she know what cakes are made of? And you have it all here? Yeah, sort of. And sugar? And sugar. Could you lend me a little? What for? I thought it was over its top. A sudden gust of wind made me grab the cart instinctively and open my eyes. However, nobody was there. Am I daydreaming? I noticed, though, that the sugar sack was untied and a small heap of it had poured out. Could that be that she was scared by the wind and ran away? Having fixed the sack, I got up from the bench, really weird stuff, and continued on my challenging strawberry way. There wasn't a single person near the canteen. No wonder dinner was still an hour away. I brought the handcart to the rear exit and handed the foodstuffs to the camp cook. She must have already been told what to do with them, as she gave me such an unpleasant look. I'm not sure how long it takes to bake a cake. I love cake! But it seems she had to hurry. I would have loved to bake the cake for her instead. I like baking things. I just wanted to relax for the remaining time up until dinner. In short, I was so tired that I just sat on the steps and waited, closing my eyes again. My eyes closed themselves. I guess I got so tired throughout the day that I didn't even notice how someone came up to me until they patted me on the shoulder. Hi! Miko was standing before me. Yeah, I didn't need a mirror to imagine the expression of skepticism and annoyance on my face. Oh God. Excuse me, I must have interrupted you. No problem, I was just sitting here. Alright then. Miko beamed with a smile. I was just coming to dinner. I thought that it's time already, and then it appeared to me that it's too early, but I decided to check just in case. Maybe it's not me who's mistaken, but the clock is. Well, not the clock. Clocks can't be mistaken, but it's just that I misread it. Now she was ultimately confused and fell silent. It's still about half an hour before dinner. Oh, that's great. Then I'll sit here and watch you with you, don't mind? Frankly speaking, I do mind. You know, I have some matters to attend to. I stood up quickly and left without saying goodbye, ignoring Miku as I always did, while she screamed something after me. Wow, I'm being really mean to Miku. A minute later I got to the square and sat on the bench with the firm intention of finding a quiet and safe place here to wait for dinner. I think this is the first time in the last 4.5 days when I felt like this. I wasn't just irritated because of some insignificant details, but indeed I was really angry. Why am I angry? I've completely stopped caring about where I am and why I'm here. Oh, I don't care about how to get out either. What's driving me mad is that I always have to carry out some stupid task given by a camp leader, and it's always me who gets into stupid situation and sometimes even ends up looking like a clown. If all of this is some alien trick or plot of the universal mind, they better consult with their psychiatrist. I gritted my teeth and clenched my fists. And the most annoying thing is that everything that happens seems to happen by itself somehow. I'd be happier not having to carry on bags of sugar that weigh a ton, but I have no choice at all. I mean, any other option would lead to much worse consequences than a muscle strain or hurt pride. Who are you angry with? Said Uliana. She stood in front of me and smiled slightly. Nobody really, I answered absently. But my fist gave me away. Just like that. Okay, it's up to you. You'd better tell me, why did you run around the camp the whole day with some kind of bags? I had to, I replied reluctantly. I guess it was food. Maybe it was. Uliana was about to say something, but at that moment the bell rang, calling the pioneers for dinner. I sighed in relief and quickly headed to the canteen, leaving Uliana behind. Simon, thank you very much. For what? The camp leader gave me a friendly smile. For the cake, of course. Ah, sure. It was that exact moment that I truly understood the true meaning of the saying, keep your thanks to feed your cat. Keep your thanks to feed your cat. You didn't tell anybody. This ought to be a surprise. Yeah, that's my boy. And now off you go to dinner. Olga Dmitrievna waved her hand, pointing at the canteen. I stepped through the doorway slowly and started to look for a free place. Personally, I'm really loving. If I was in this situation, I've gotten used to it. I like what's going on. I even like the canteen. I just like where I am in the story. It turned out there were plenty today, so I got the chance to eat all alone. There were fish with mashed potatoes for dinner again. What misfortune, I'll be left half hungry. And didn't we have fish for lunch? Is it a fish-only day today? Having pushed my plate with the fried sea dweller away, I laid my head on my hands and closed my eyes. But soon somebody came up to the table. Hey, are you alright? Said Praise. I'm fine. I replied without changing my position. Just tired? Yeah, a little. That's bad. Praise said it seriously. Of course. You remember that we are going for a hike after the dinner, don't you? Have you prepared everything? Oh, no. A hike after dinner? What, where? I opened my eyes and lifted up my head up instantly. Sarah was standing by Praise. The hike? She was surprised. Didn't you know? No. I didn't. I put my head down on the table and covered it with my hands. Ugh. If only I could sink into the ground right away. The girls remained silent. I was left alone with my thoughts for some time, and that was fine by me. Maybe I could have sat that way until the end of dinner, but the strong voice of Olga Dmitrievna was heard from the opposite end of the canteen. Guys! Right, let's quickly save. Yes. To celebrate the miraculous rescue of our friend and comrade Shurik, we baked this cake for you all. I lifted my head idly and looked towards the camp leader, but couldn't see anything beyond the pioneers' backs. A second, just a second, and nothing but me. Nothing but me rescuing Shurik or gathering the ingredients for the cake. As if that's how it ought to be. Give me my recognition! Well, it would be wrong to expect anything else from our camp leader. Let's go, or we won't get our share. Praise smiled. Let's go, Sarah agreed. Yeah, sure. I got up reluctantly and tagged along behind the girls. As we approached the crowd of pioneers, Olga Dmitrievna was just putting the cake in the center of the table. And now? The camp leader wasn't able to finish as Uliana rushed out from the pioneer crowd and dived into the cake. She managed to nibble it a few times before she was pulled away. She was kicking and screaming. I stared blankly from the outside all this drama. Alisa smiling, Sarah picking up some cream with her finger, all the furious pioneers around. I felt completely out of place here. I thought I'd have to close my eyes and open them again. Here I am, back to the safety of my apartment in front of my computer. Yeah, I mean, this is just insane. I smiled, I blinked. Nothing changed, only the noise and the confusion became sharper. Uliana, that's the limit. I just... Well, in fact, behaving like this is a bit over the top even for her. I mean, true, it's a bit too much. Shurik broke into the conversation, or is it a court-martial? Please, Olga Dmitrievna, since the cake is celebrating my return, it's no big deal. He hesitated. It doesn't matter. The camp leader turned to Uliana. And you, today I'm going to punish you to the fullest extent, so you'll behave next time. Ah, whatever. She snorted and turned back. You won't be going on the hike with us tonight. As if I wanted to. I was more than willing to switch places with Uliana and skip the hike instead of her. But who knew? If I had guessed that beforehand, I'd been the first one to go berserk and smash the damn cake. After a couple of minutes of confusion, the pioneers started to disperse. You have to get ready too. There'll be a lineup at the square and are we going to eat cake? I looked straight into the eyes of the camp leader, trying to express my attitude non-verbally, but it seems that I failed. Don't be late. Uliana was sitting at the table and I approached her on my way to the exit. So why did you do it? She looked very upset. But she had a right to be so. I wanted to. Uliana replied abruptly. So you're happy now? Of course I am. And you, good luck with the hiking. She smiled mischievously, sprang up and rushed out of the canteen. Well, a little bit of luck wouldn't hurt. Wait, so we didn't get any cake? Ah, no cake? I really want some cake, actually. All this talk of cake is klubnikami, maslinami. Yeah. Maslin is the wrong word. But I really... Malina, I really... Walk and you shall reach. It was exactly this proverb that kept whirling in my head all the way down to the camp leader's cabin. Somehow I just couldn't manage to argue to pretend that I'm sick or just to skip it without reason. The events of this day taught me submissiveness. Although sometimes whatever was happening made no sense at all to me. As I walked in, I had a thought. Well, in fact, how should I get ready? Clothes? I only have an overcoat and a pair of jeans. Anyway, I forgot to ask whether it's going to be an overnight hike or not. I couldn't think of anything better, so I grabbed the sweater that I had on me when I arrived in the camp. The night might be fairly chilly, and shuffled slowly off to the square. All the camp was already there, although it was about 10 minutes before the time Olga Dmitrievna had designated. I settled down near the edge and waited patiently. Night was falling. If viewed from the outside, what a fairly comical picture we would make. A crowd of pioneers lined up out of sheer habit, like they were awaiting a silent command from the bronze Genda. And all this happening in the beautiful scarlet rays of the sunset. And there he is, waving his hand and screaming attack! As roaring soldiers with red neckerchiefs charge into battle against some ghostly enemy. But Olga Dmitrievna showed up and started to talk, instead of Genda. It seems everybody is here. Great. 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 I was so tired today that I couldn't even think about anything, so I just ended up listening to the camp leader. Now today, we'll go hiking. It is essential for every pioneer to be able to come and rescue his comrade, to offer a helping hand in the hour of need, saving them from a hopeless situation. We have to learn to do all these things together, as one. A whisper that ran through the pioneer crowd suggests that most probably this truly epic expedition would end in a clearing in the forest, several hundred feet away from the square. Somehow I thought so too. We'll walk in pairs. So if you haven't chosen a partner for yourself yet, there's no need to worry. Pioneers quickly caught on to the idea and started to match in pairs. It looks like I was the only one without a partner. Praise was enthusiastically discussing something with Olga Dmitrievna, Sarah was with Miku, Electronic was, of course, with Shurik. Well, it might not be a bad idea to go alone after all. Simon! The voice of the camp leader pulled me out of my thoughts. I went up to her reluctantly. I see that you haven't found a partner. Seems like it. Then you'll join... Oh no! Then you'll join Zhenya, she's alone too. I was struck with that special kind of despair that only a true loner can experience. I feel your pain. So it appears that I'm left with a prickly librarian that I wouldn't risk spending a couple of hours with even if I was paid for it. Although we both seem to be in the exact same boat now. I slowly approached Zhenya. Well, I guess we'll be going together. She looked up at me. Don't you even think that I'm glad? Said Zhenya seriously. Why on earth you should feel glad? I asked naively. Never mind, it'll be much better if you just shut up. Jesus. It can't get any much better than this. She turned her back on me and followed the other pioneers. I still haven't seen any special reason to walk in pairs. Anyway, we were walking on the well-trodden forest trails and it'd be difficult to get lost here even if I wanted to. Moreover, we'd already been hiking for half an hour. We weren't rushing into the depths of the forest, trying to face all the dangers that could test our courage and harden our pioneer spirits. But instead, we were just walking around in circles. However, if we take into account that Olga Dmitrievna was our chief, this hike could be compared to a hobbit's march from the Shire to Mordor. Lord of the Rings reference! Just as Zhenya insisted, I was following her at a distance in silence. The librarian seemed to be perfectly okay with that. Well, that leaves this episode here, guys. I hope you're having a great day, as always. Keep your chin up, and I will be doing the next episode as soon as I can. And until then, cheers.